everybody, and welcome to Making Finances Sexy. I'm Jessica Lay, your Rent Rave owned realtor and certified instructor with 101 Financial, right here in the Valley of the Sun. It is my mission to help you move from renting into homeownership, no matter your current situation. I'm here to be your personal finance coach and first time home buyer specialist. And we have Rose Short.
Hey guys, it's me, the Red Queen. Come down the rabbit hole with me. I'm a financial consultant here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as a realtor and CEO of Kronika Luxury. It is my mission to help you build multiple income streams, capitalize on your social media, live your dream life, and just enjoy the life you have.
Ooh, that's all we want.
Yes, time freedom, baby.
Oh, yeah. And today I'm super excited to get into cash flow and why you want a positive cash flow
Yes.
in your personal finance life. And if you don't know what your cash flow is, you should figure that out. Because it's crazy how many people, especially in the United States, just don't do proper financial management and they don't know how much money compared to their expenses and how much money they have left over each month after they get their paychecks and all the bills get paid. And that's kind of key if you are running your own business or trying to buy that house or whatever, take that dream vacation. Like, we need to understand our money and where it's going.
For sure. Yeah, we definitely are not taught cash management unless, our parents are good at it. And for a lot of people, our parents aren't good at it because, when our parents were growing up or coming into the working world, like the middle class was a real thing here in the States, and now it's really not. So we got to take it upon ourselves to learn and get better about understanding our finances, how they work, and making it work for us in the economy that we now have.
Exactly. So we'll get right into it. What is cash flow? So, cash flow refers to the total amount of money moving into and out of your account, checking account, whether it's personal or business, over a specific period. It encompasses all income and expenses, offering a comprehensive view of a company's liquidity or, again, your personal financial health. This helps determine whether the individual or business has positive or negative cash flow at the end of each month after the expenses are settled.
Love it.
So people kind of mix up cash flow and profit, but the difference is cash flow in personal finance, it represents the actual money coming in and going out of an individual's finances. It focuses on the liquidity and the timing of cash transactions, helping us understand our ability to meet daily expenses and our obligations. Profit, on the other hand, refers to the difference between total income and total expenses over that specific period. While it reflects an individual's financial gains, it can include non-cash items such as unrealized gains or changes in assets values, which do not directly impact available cash. But understanding both of these is essential for effective personal financial management.
Yeah, for sure. If your company gifts you stock, but it doesn't vest for a couple of years, right? It's not going to be something that you want to figure into your cash flow.
So, the importance of cash flow management for personal finance, the key is financial planning. It aids in forecasting our future cash needs and making informed decisions on financing and budgeting. Again, most people aren't aware of their financial picture, and that's why I love my class so much, because you can really see everything laid out, your income, expenses, and we can do all the calculations right then and there. And the future forecast of it is being able to see, oh, my account's going to draw negative in September, and I need to make some changes now so I don't draw that account negative. And you can either make more money before September, or you can cut down on some expenses before September just to bring your account back to zero. Or what we really want to do is get that positive cash flow number. We don't really want to be at zero, but it's better than drafting negative.
Yeah, forecasting is so important because you'll have like a week where you make really good money, right? And so you're like, oh, I have extra money. I can go out to dinner this week, or like I can go buy this thing I've had my eye on. And then maybe the next week something happens at your job and like you don't get 2 days worth of work. And so the living paycheck to paycheck is something that we do kind of do to ourselves because oftentimes we have extra money instead of just letting it sit in the bank for those expenses. We want to spend it, and it's really detrimental. If you have that forecasting ability, then you have more of a reason to not spend it than just like, oh, I should leave it there for a rainy day. You can actually see the rainy day coming.
Yeah, that happens a lot with my students. So when you're working a normal job, if you're getting paid weekly, some months you have that extra paycheck, and then other months, it's 4 weeks. But we do have those times where you get 5 paychecks in one month, and people, like Rose mentioned, are just spending it and not effectively planning it.
Yeah, it's really easy to get the extra money and be like, oh, I can pay off debt, or I can do this, I can do this, but you've got to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm. And financial planning, it's risk management. If you identify potential cash shortfalls, allowing you personally or businesses to take proactive measures to mitigate these risks.
Makes sense?
And there's a few different types of cash flow. We have our operating cash flow. So this is cash generated from an individual's core financial activities, such as income from employment, their side businesses, or other regular sources of revenue. It reflects the money available for daily expenses and your essential living costs. Living costs is your electricity bill, your kids, spouse, just things we can't pay off, basically. And then we have our investing cash flow. This is the cash used for our personal investments, stocks, bonds, or real estate, as well as cash received from selling these types of assets. It indicates how effectively a person is building wealth through their investments. And that's the great thing about financial planning, again, is you can factor in extra, I say extra money, but it's not really extra money, but just factor in money if you have a positive cash flow to investment accounts, which we all want to do that. There's so many people that are like, I can't invest because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't make enough, and all these excuses. But honestly, if you lay everything out on your financial plan, you'll be surprised that we can definitely fit in some investments and get that going, because we've talked about it before. The earlier you start, the better. The longer you wait, your investments won't be nearly as much.
Yep.
And then we have financing cash flow. This is cash received from or paid to lenders and investors. For people individually, it may involve loans taken out for personal use, our mortgage payments, or any cash inflows from investments made by family or friends. Understanding this helps us manage our debt and investment strategies a lot more effectively. So, how do we manage our cash flow? First, and we can't stress this enough, create a budget.
Yes.
Yes, creating a
Budgets are
budget.
sexy.
Yes, budgets are really sexy. I mean, people stress out about them, but this really is a driving force if you are serious about changing your financial picture. Developing a detailed budget that tracks your income and expenses. This helps you understand your cash flow and, again, identify the areas where you can cut costs or strategize, do some freelance work to increase your income, or digital marketing, like we talked about last week. There's so many ways you can cut expenses or increase your income. And if anyone ever wants to talk about them, hit me up.
Yes. Yeah, and if you have a variable paycheck, just use your lower end. Like, maybe you're gonna have months where you have mad OT, but don't factor that in. Just factor in your base pay.
Yes, exactly. That's what we always do. We always say round down for income and round up for expenses. So if your expenses fluctuates, hit the higher end. If your income fluctuates, definitely in your financial plan, stick with the lower end. And then you want to monitor your spending, regularly review your spending habits. There's apps, spreadsheets. I have a note in my phone where as soon as I spend some money, I'm noting what it is, how much it is. And that allows you to make more adjustments. Like if you see during the week you're buying coffee out at the coffee shop 3 times, 4 times a week, and it's adding up, maybe make coffee at home. We always bring up this example, but it's such a real thing that people are doing. So just tracking your spending is a powerful tool. And building an emergency fund, that again is the very first thing that I like to do with my students. Is we get their emergency fund built up. That's like the first goal that we want to hit, because that brings financial peace of mind. If you have funds set aside for those unexpected expenses, blown tires, car problems, medical problems, this cushion helps you avoid future cash flow issues during the emergencies, because we've all been there where we had this unexpected expense and that kind of digs you back into a hole, or it delays you being able to effectively save money or hit that goal of buying a house or going on that trip or whatever.
Yeah.
We talked about a little bit planning for irregular income. So like Rose mentioned, if you have variable income, like you're doing freelance work, we create our projections to manage the leaner months more effectively. And again, if you have that cash reserve on the back end, that just helps you for those months that you're not making as much. I've noticed my business summer, there's a lot less people coming in, to get things fixed up. And I have friends that own yoga studios and whatnot that are kind of struggling in the summer, but it makes sense. There's a lot of people on vacations and doing all the traveling during the summer. So business tends to be a little bit slower in those months. And having your projections with my class, we can account for the slower months.
Love it.
Yeah. And you could always set up automatic savings. I used to do that. I'd have a little bit of my paycheck going into a savings account that I couldn't look at in the beginning, because I was one of those people, if I saw money in my account, I'll spend it. So having an automated savings to a savings account that is a little bit more difficult for you to access is a pretty strategic, smart way to save money. And that money actually really came in handy for me. Like somebody ran into my car and wrecked it, and I had to pay insurance and all that stuff, but I was able to use that money that I had been saving in that account and not detriment my current financial plan in my main checking account.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same as putting money into a 401k, right? Like you can't touch it. Like you might get the report every month of like how much is in there and whatnot, but if you pull money out of your 401k, you have to pay like stupid high taxes on it, unless you're pulling it out for something. Like, I think if you pull it out to purchase a home, you don't have to pay as much taxes on it or the fine for touching it early. But keep in mind that whatever you do needs to work for you, right? So some banks have a minimum account balance that needs to be in your savings account. And if, you're having a lot of emergencies and it's going to drop below that minimum and you're going to start getting charged, maybe consider closing that one or searching for one that doesn't have a minimum so that you're not getting fined for having to use your own emergency money.
No, definitely. And talk to the banks. Like those professionals are there to help. Some Sometimes it feels like the banks are trying to scam us, but honestly, we just don't ask enough questions and we sign all the paperwork and don't really read all the
Yeah.
fine print all the time. So definitely don't be afraid to ask questions. They're happy to answer and also give you advice on some of the tools and resources that they may have that could help you for your specific situation and what your goals are. So a couple common cash flow problems. First is the irregular income. That makes it a little bit more difficult when financial planning, but there are ways to offset it and make it work. There's also overspending and lifestyle creep. So people doing impulse purchasing, the economy, inflation, or increasing their spending as their income rises. That is a problem that I notice with students and used to be myself, but just because you're making more money, you don't want to spend more money. If you're making more money,
Sure.
you want to leverage that and start saving more money. There's also the other problem is lack of budgeting. I try to budget weekly. I pay attention weekly to what I'm spending, but there are some weeks where I didn't pay attention at all, and then you're like, shoot, where did all my money go? So budgeting is can lead to poor financial decisions and have an unclear understanding of your cash flow, because if you're not budgeting properly, then you're not going to know if you're negative or positive. Unexpected expenses is another issue with cash flow. Without an emergency fund in place, it disrupts our positive cash flow. Higher debt payments. If the debt payments are outweighing your income, you're definitely most likely in a negative cash flow state. Inadequate savings. If you're relying on credit more than money, then chances are you are also in a negative cash flow. Relying on credit is such a scary thing. And so many people, especially in the US, we're in a lot of credit card debt. It's insane. And interest, people complain about the 6.5% interest rate in mortgage. Credit cards are 29, 30%, and nobody's upset about that. It's
Oh,
crazy.
they are, but it's they still have access to it right now, whereas they feel like they don't have access to buying a home.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But credit cards don't offer the benefits or the equity that can come from buying a house. So it's just crazy. And I don't know. That could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, really good.
And then delayed payments can also disrupt our cash flow if you have a business or personal business. If you're waiting on payments from clients or side gigs, that creates gaps in our cash flow. So make sure you get paid. Because that was a big thing for me, is I was giving away a little bit too many of my classes because I just want it so badly for everyone, but that was kind of messing me up big time, and I had to no, people need to figure it out themselves.
Yeah. You need to be paid for your experience. You need to demand your worth.
Exactly. So, by recognizing these common issues, you can take a proactive step to improve your cash flow management and achieve that greater financial stability, which everyone wants and needs. And you can really go miles ahead in life with sound financial planning. It's worked for me. Rose probably does it, and it's just, yeah, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would not be nearly as far as I am in my business or personal life if I didn't budget.
And just imagine like freeing up that cash if you are in debt, freeing up those debt payments. What would you do with that money? There's just so many things you can do with it, and just feel that weight. Like I remember I was in $30,000 of debt before I got started in my planning, and then once that was gone, I was just like, whew, like this is amazing. Now I'm enjoying life. I'm traveling. I bought my first house. Like there's just so much debt holds you back really hard if you're not making a ton of money or getting money from your parents all the time, because that's a problem too. People have rich families, parents and things like that, and they're still not teaching their kids proper financial management. If you're just getting money all the time and not planning with it or factoring it into your projections, then it's just you getting money, and what if that stops one day, you know? And the last thing I just wanted to touch on was tools and resources. So there's a lot of accounting softwares out there like QuickBooks, Zero. There's actually cash flow forecasting templates, and then tons of resources out there on online, books, courses, whatever. I have to be biased because I love 101 Financial's web application because it's easy to use. It comes with an instructor that you get for life, and it does all the things you need it to do. But yeah, if any of those common cash flow issues resonated with you and you don't have any idea if you're positive or negative, I just highly recommend you get some help with that. And if you're up to your eyeballs in debt, like, what's the worst that can happen? There's really no risk in financial planning. It's actually there to make things better for you.
Yeah.
And that's all I got today.
Next week, let's talk about the easiest way to monetize and start making money online, and that is with blogging on Medium.